Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Thank you for hanging out with me for a few minutes out of your day to go over some of my favorite childhood toys of the late 70s, early 80s. And these are all the toys that I had played with as a child that were $5 and under. And I think there's only a couple on here that were even close to $5 because back in the day, all these were really cheap toys. But here it goes, and I enjoyed every single one of these toys immensely as a child. Back in good old days when you had to use your imagination to fuel some of your playtime, it wasn't all done for you on an app or a game. You actually had to use your imagination and create your own fun. But these are my top 10 or 10 of my favorite childhood games, toys rather, that I had as a child, $5 and under. So here we go. First is Slime. I believe Slime came out right around 77 or so. And the green slime that we all know today came in a little plastic green trash can. And I don't believe anybody had seen anything like that before up until that point. There might have been variants that I didn't know about. But Slime, it was great. It was fun. It oozed through your fingers and like that. And you could reuse it all the time. Eventually it started to pick up crud off the floor or wherever you set it down, and it started to get kind of funky after a while. But definitely lots of play value, lots of fun with something simple like that, Slime. And two, this has been around for years before I was around, and but it was still fun to play with when I was a child, and that's Silly Putty. You could roll it up into a round ball and actually kind of make it bounce like a real ball. And as you know, Silly Putty, you could copy comics off of newspapers or comic books or whatever, or images off newspapers. As long as it could get the ink off of paper, it would give you a mirror image of it, and you could reuse it over and over again. So Silly Putty, definitely a cool thing. And these two, I think, are the higher priced toys on the list. I'm not exactly sure, but I love these. And once I started to think about this list, I thought about guns as toys as a kid. I believe people from my generation and before didn't think twice about giving a child a realistic looking weapon and letting him take his childhood angst and rage out, pretend killing his friends and family members. And you could always play cops and robbers, cowboys and Indians, and that definitely does not happen anymore that I can tell. But these two weren't realistic looking weapons. These were, the color I had for this first one was blue, and it's the Zebra 2 pellet gun, and it would shoot little round yellow rubber pellets. And this was great because you could like set up targets and things, and like paper targets and whatever cards, and you could knock them down or whatever, and you wouldn't really do any damage. They didn't have that much force, and they weren't obviously sharp. They're round. So if you did a pet or your friend or whatever, you're not going to do really any damage. And if you're lucky enough to find all the pellets around the yard or wherever it was, they'd easily get lost. You could keep refilling your gun. I think they counted on the kids to lose their pellets because you could buy the refill packages for probably $1 or so back in the day. So Zebra 2 pellet gun. I never knew the name of this gun up until just today when I searched it. And the second gun is quite similar to the first. It's a tracer gun, a disc gun, where it would shoot out little round discs about the size, about the size of a nickel. And I like this one a little bit better because it was kind of like shooting a frisbee out of a gun, because it would kind of float in the air and catch the wind or whatever, and it wouldn't just necessarily go in a straight line. And it'd be a little more like if you could like go around a corner, you could kind of aim it and this and that. And it was a little bit harder plastic, but even if you hit somebody, you weren't going to do that much damage. You weren't going to break a window or anything like that. Or if you hit a pet by accident, if you shot your dog or your cat, whatever, you weren't going to do really any damage to them or that, whatever it was. Next, I had this probably while I was in high school and played with it a lot. It was the old Nerf basketball hoop that you would put over your door. It would hang there, and you would shoot baskets in your room, and you could do trick shots from like across the room without hitting the roof. And it was a little bit more of a challenge because you have a little bit of space up there, and to arc the basketball into the hoop was a tough challenge. And you could always dunk it and things like that. And once again, it's a Nerf ball. It didn't do any damage. So you could be whoever it was at the time, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, whatever, and do the Jabbar skyhook, definitely. And not really do any damage, but it was loads of fun, and you could pretend you're like crazy mad dunking. And that was one of the things that was really cool about it. And another thing is caps and cap guns. I don't think I had a cap gun for very long time, but definitely would buy the rolls of caps. They would come in packages for the refills for the guns, but we would just lay them out on a brick or the sidewalk and just smash them with rocks and try to get as many as you could at one time and just explode the caps. So yeah, giving kids a small amount of gunpowder and rocks, and you would leave like little burn marks on the sidewalk or whatever. So definitely that was cool. And next was Super Balls, and these were actually sold, I think, a while back at Dollar Tree. Maybe they still are. But Super Balls, mad bouncing power. Then you could always see if you could make it over a building or a house and see how high you can make them bounce. Such a basic toy. It had a lot of play value. That's what I appreciated about it. And I go out and make a basketball court sometimes and bounce these around. These would probably break a window, definitely, because they're kind of rock hard. So definitely possible damage with these. Next is balsa wood planes. And balsa wood planes are pretty much like a model. They weren't really meant to be played with because the wood was so fragile. And if you could put one together without breaking it, that was an accomplishment. And if you could actually put it together and fly it without breaking it, that was mastery, because these things would shatter on impact, the wings would crack, whatever. And but if you could get it to last for an hour or two after you bought it, you were you were perched on a higher level than all the other dumb kids around you that would just crumble them up. And but they're really, really cheap. These are the kind of toys that you would find now in like a grocery store in the real limited toy aisle they have. But they would be at my grandmother used to call them 5 and dimes. They have a little toy section where you could buy all these toys at. And the next, I don't think it has a name, but it was basically a plastic plane, probably about 8 inches long, wide, whatever. It would be on a string with a little hoop, and you would put it on your finger, and you could go around in a circle and swing it, and you could get it to fly. And once you got it to fly, you could kind of do tricks, raise your arms up and down, make it do tricks or whatever. I think you could do a loop-de-loop if you were really good at it, but you'd have to be really paying attention like that. So, like I said, another simple toy that brought me lots of, had lots of play value and helped me kill quite a bit of time when I was a little kid. And the next is, I'm not sure what the name of these would be, paratrooper with a parachute, but they'd be a little military person with a plastic parachute attached by strings, and you would wrap it around the guy like that, or throw it in the air, and I always put it on a plank with a rock or a brick and hit it with my foot and shoot it up as far as I could, and the parachute would unfurl and it would coast down to the ground. So those are 10 of the toys that I played with as a child, and if you can think of anything else that you played with that I didn't mention that brought you lots of play value and enjoyment, and like keep in mind that these are toys that you kind of had to use your imagination, not all of them, but some of them, and that were fairly cheap. Leave a comment below if you remind me of something that I might have forgotten about, that I might have actually had, but I forgot about right now. And I'll be back day after tomorrow with my slightly higher priced toys. I'm kind of working up. The other day was free. Today it's $5 and under. I'm going to try to go, I'm not sure what the dollar value all set, but still cheap toys, but a little bit more expensive, a little higher quality. I'm going to go over next time. I have another top 10 list. And tomorrow will be back to autographs. Autographs through the mail, in-person autographs, things like that. So I'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Later.